One of the things I think nature cheated me on was height. Height. It's not cool at all. But my guest this morning is a very tall man, and I admire it. He's a former basketball player and founder, or he's a basketball player, rather, I should say, and founder of the Mode Basketball Camp. He's the star of the Saskatchewan Huskies in Canada as well. Maxwell Amoafo. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I like
very
how
much.
chill you are.
Yeah.
It's a basketball thing, yeah?
It's a basketball
You guys
thing.
know you have presence, so wherever you go, you just carry yourself with, you know.
I mean, I see 20,000 people in the arena, so seeing
it's okay.
normal.
It's normal
yeah.
for you.
Yeah, it's normal.
Tell me about yourself. You're Ghanaian?
Yeah, I'm Ghanaian. I actually started playing. That's the difference between me coming here and people actually coming outside, like people playing the States and come here to help this kid. Actually, I mean, been through all the stages in Ghana, went to Infantipim school, won everything in Infantipim school, back-to-back championship. Went to UG, Legon, won back-to-back championship.
You played for Legon?
Yeah, I won back
team. Which hall were you in?
I was a Vandal for a year. Then I moved to Amoafo Hall. So I actually like finished, played some Amoafo Hall games and stuff like that.
No, I was in Legon Hall, so.
Oh, okay, that's just opposite us.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So I actually, went to Legon, won back-to-back championships, went to South Africa, All-African University Games, won championships, went to Canada, played in the national championships, 2020. So yeah, it's just like, I've been through all this. I mean, coming here, people were telling me to take money from these kids for the camp. But I've been through it. I know how these kids feel. Sometimes it's hard to even get to practice, food to eat and stuff like that. So I just came here to give back. I mean, just to see these kids, I was happy. It's a dream come true, actually. I've been thinking about doing this for a very long time. And yesterday, it was a success. So, I mean...
You tell me about yesterday. I think it's a beautiful story. There are so many young people who play basketball in Ghana and haven't gotten to where you've gotten to and would like to get there. So, have you always wanted to do this? Has basketball always been on your heart?
I mean, basketball has always been on my heart. I mean, I've always loved the game, and I have the passion for it. If you ask anyone who watches me, they can tell you. If you don't see anything, you're going to see, oh, this kid has a passion for the game. So, I mean, basketball has always been on my heart, and I mean, I'm trying to just use basketball as a tool just to get to where I want to get to and also give back and tell these kids it's possible because, I mean, if they have no one to look up to and say to them that, oh, I've been in this situation before. And if you actually work hard and believe in yourself, you can get there. I mean, it's possible. So I'm just here to give back some knowledge to these kids.
I mean, did you play for the national team of Ghana?
We don't have a national team.
We don't have a national team?
We don't have a national team. That's what we're trying to do. I mean, we're trying to come together as a Ghanaian Basketball Association, like come together trying, because there are players outside. I mean, I have friends outside in the States and Europe that actually want to play for Ghana. But who would they talk to? Who would they talk to? Like, even South Sudan or South whatever it is, they're playing the World Cup. How is South Sudan or Rwanda playing in the World Cup and Ghana is not? I mean, we don't need billions to do it. We just need a structure, right, to make this happen.
We'll come to the structure. Let's go back to your story. So, would you say that your love for basketball was nurtured more in Infantipim?
Yeah.
How would you say it's contributed? Infantipim, Legon, how has it contributed to
I'll say Infantipim. I mean, Infantipim has a different basketball culture. They actually believe in sports, you know. I mean, some schools, you know, you're an athlete, like, they don't care about you, but in Infantipim, if you're an athlete, it's like a privilege to be an athlete.
More than Adisadel?
What?
More than Adisadel?
I don't really know about Adisadel, but we beat them every time, so I don't really like every time we see them, we beat them. So Infantipim actually has a basketball culture, and they actually take sports serious, you know. So I think that's where actually had a love for the game, and I mean, we still friends like that. My teammates in Infantipim, it's like a brotherhood. We also talk to them, like, so just like I had the love for the game in Infantipim. I could say that too.
What took you to Canada, Maxwell? Was it because you were just good?
I mean, it's hard work and your work ethic. You can't just you can't just leave Ghana to go play in a university out there because they give you a 50,000 scholarship, 60,000 scholarship, and it's a business. No coach would want to take someone from here that's no good. I mean, you need to have the work ethic. You need to be disciplined, and I mean that's what I came here for, to give the kids this knowledge. I mean,
How would you describe your work ethic?
I mean, if it got to me, I told you everything about me. So I mean, it's just like it's hard work.
Tell me,
you know, it's.
what's your typical day like before? Let's say even before Canada. What was your typical day like?
I
And
mean,
your
just
practice like?
as a Ghanaian, I mean, there's no much to. I mean, I did the best I could do with what I had. I actually went to coaches that I knew had knowledge of the game. Someone like Mimi Falconer.
Mimi, man,
Yeah.
that guy.
He's one of the guys that I actually try to get some knowledge from, because I'm trying to get further, and we didn't have the means of this YouTube and stuff like that. It's easy to now learn stuff, but he knows it. Actually, like, take time, yo, coach, tell me about this, tell me about that.
So he trained you?
He
Mimi
trained me, yeah.
Was it Legon?
In Legon,
Legon, huh?
like, he trained me. He was my personal coach too.
Wow.
So I used to go to him like twice a week or 3 times a week. But my personal training, I just go to the Adenta basketball court sometimes twice a day with my friends. We just shoot, work out. I mean, in Ghana here too, I mean, the Legon basketball gym, they know me. I still go there, they still mention my name, because that's why I actually sleep. Go there every morning, go to the weight room every morning. But in Canada, it's a different type of, I mean, work ethic. Because everything is available to you. So you need to work hard, and your scholarship is on the line. So you have to work hard for it.
Well, what do you think makes you different from the average Ghanaian basketball player?
I think it's just work ethic, discipline, and ready to learn, open-minded, because you need to grow. And I mean, you know the Ghanaian culture. Most of us think we know it all. We're close-minded. And I keep telling them, even the big stars are still learning the game. The game never ends. Even the big coaches are still learning. You need to be very open-minded. Otherwise, you always stay the same.
But you say the resources are not here. So how do they learn? How many do you know the courts we have in Ghana? Like, do we have the standard court here?
We don't have the standard court.
The Legon court, you say, is standard, isn't it?
I mean, it's a standard, but it's an outdoor court. That's how we can hold, like, international games here.
There.
We can do that, but we don't have the... That means, and even the outdoor courts are now locked. So how are these kids that can even afford to even get sneakers, practice? We need outdoor courts that are even open for these kids to play, and now they are locked. So how do they even play? We need the kids to play. You know, that's why we're here, to help them. So, I mean, I love the game. I'm trying to give back to my country, and I mean, there's so much to do, and I can't do it alone, you know?
In interacting with these kids that you're raising in Moat basketball camp, what have you discovered about them?
I mean, you can tell the athleticism is there, the passion for the game is there. That's what they have more than the kids in Europe, in Canada, because they don't have much. I mean, you know, African kids be very athletic, but the technical aspect of the game, they have it. You know, so that's probably the only difference between Canada and Ghana. But the athleticism, if you put them there to play, they can play, but you can't function without the technical aspect of the game. You know, you need to know what's happening on the basketball court to be able to play. And I think that's what is missing. And with my camp, I had some of the best coaches in Ghana. Everything we did, we demonstrated it to all the 100 campus, and they actually saw everything that was happening. So, I mean, they left with knowledge. I mean, we had questions and Q&A with them, and you can tell from, like, the questions they're asking and the answers they're giving us, you know, they learn so much from it.
How do you recruit the kids?
We opened a registration, and we actually had over 250 kids that were registered. So we had to evaluate them and pick 100 out of it. So we actually went according to the information they gave us. So that's how we recruited our kids.
With all these challenges you've mentioned, I'm looking at it again in Ghana, and as one man, I mean, you have the likes of Mimi helping and a few others, but how are you surmounting these challenges? You know, raising these kids, supporting them, funding, and etc. How are you doing it?
I mean, this year with my co-founder Rebecca May, and I think that's the only, we did it. This year we just did it ourselves, and with the help of PBA and some of the coaches. I mean, but financially, it's just me and Rebecca May that founded this basketball camp.
What can we do? as a country, honestly, to compete out there. I know that one of the best teams in Africa is, what's the name of this African country? This is Central Africa or Eastern Africa. The best basketball national team in Africa. Or is it? No, it's not Nigeria. Oh, well, it escaped me. But what can we do to be playing, not even if not in the world, in Africa, to be competing in Africa? What,
I mean,
what
we
really
need
can we do?
an indoor court first, right?
Indoor
we need
courts.
an indoor court first to be able to hold international games. Because if we're playing away games, they need to come here to play home games, right? So we need an
Right.
indoor court, a standardized one to be able to hold like the games and stuff. If we don't have that, we can't do that. So we need an indoor court first. Then we need an association that actually works, that actually understands the game, that actually understands what's going on, to be able to talk to these players outside. Hey, we need you here. We need you here. So we can have all of. They are willing to come. They are more than willing to come. If you hear the conversations they're trying to have, they are more than willing to come. But who they talk to, like, how are they getting here? Do we have an indoor court? We don't. How are we having our training? We don't have all these means.
I know you're not in government, but please tell me, what do you think is the problem? Because we have a Ministry of Sports, and we've seen how football is pushed. We've seen how tennis is being pushed. Even I think we have a national swimming team. What is the problem with basketball? Is that we are not interested? We don't think it will fetch us money.
It's not.
Even boxing, we are investing a lot in boxing. What's the problem?
It's not that they don't see basketball. They see basketball as a recreational sport. That's what Ghanaians see basketball to be, but that's not what basketball is. You can actually use basketball to create money, but you need to sell it in the right way for people to actually come and watch it. You know, there's different aspects of the game that needs to be understood, and if you watch it from one perspective, that's what you're gonna see. But you can actually sell basketball to people, that it can actually change your perspective from even loving soccer to not becoming a basketball nation. But it needs to be sold.
Is that possible?
It's possible, but it needs to be sold, you know. But we don't have I don't know if we have the right people to do that. And I don't see them doing that. But it's possible, though. It's very possible. And, I mean, that's why we're here, just trying to make that happen, because we don't want our kids going through this. This is going to change. But, I mean, there should be someone here trying to make a change first. And that's why we're here.
Which part of Ghana did you grow up?
I mean, as a kid, I grew up in Medina.
You're a Medina boy.
Yeah, but I didn't live. Life, you know.
Medina, Dent is very close. So.
Yeah, so I've seen.
Dent has a lot of basketball courts, don't you?
We have just one. We have just one, and I'll give props to those that sponsor the basketball courts, because it's been there for a very long time, and they've actually maintained it. And I mean, Tax Basketball Foundation, they actually also maintain a basketball court too. So I'll give props to Adenta, because they actually have over 200 kids. They have an academy of 200 kids that actually come and train with some coaches, and that's a good development for the basketball nation in Ghana too. So I mean, Adenta is doing a good job with basketball. I can say that for a fact.
Medina.
And that's it.
Those are the areas.
Yeah, those are the areas, yeah.
What do you remember most about those places?
I mean, I could say much about Medina. Growing up in Medina, like, as a naive kid, I could be in so much trouble, you know?
Right.
If you don't have right guidance, I could think about it right now. How about the kids in Medina right now? If they don't have the right guidance, they're probably not even bad kids, but they don't have the right guidance. They're in trouble right now. They're probably in prison right now. So it's just.
So when you say guidance, you mean your parents?
I mean, guidance, no, actually, like, I mean, emotional intelligence, how to, like, a lot of things that our culture, we don't actually talk about, you know, get into fights, get into this, you know. I mean, there's a lot more we have to learn as a country, you know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying, but there's a lot more.
So I mean, I grew up in Aveno, so I can relate a bit. I've seen a lot of vices and all that. What were some of the things you thought could have landed you in trouble that you were close to doing, but maybe you escaped back then?
Moving around with bad, like, I mean, friends, peer, like, you know, let's do this, let's do that. You know what I mean? Did you ride motorbikes growing up? I didn't ride motorbikes.
I mean, it's not to say that there's something wrong with motorbikes,
But right now I came back to Ghana, I see a lot of motorbikes. I don't know how this culture even started.
I mean, it looks fun to many young people. So,
Now I'm talking about the commercial ones.
oh,
Yeah,
that. Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, hey, means of transportation,
Oh,
very
okay.
easy.
Okay. I don't even know when it started. I came to see a lot of motorbikes. I was like, damn.
How long have you been away?
For like 6 years. Yeah.
7 years. Okay. So, ultimately, Maxwell, I mean, 6, 7 years, like you said, you were on scholarship?
Yeah,
On
I'm on scholarship,
there.
yeah.
You know, what one thing would you say you've learned over there that you think we should emulate here?
I mean, we just being open-minded to learn
Open-minded.
and willing to help our people, willing to help those kids, and coming together as one to push whatever notion or whatever thing we're trying to push. If we're trying to push basketball, let's all come together and push it. We can actually make it work, but it's so much division. This person doing this person doing this. We can't move like that. We need to come together and push it forward. And we actually need the government to help us. But I don't know if the government is going to help us because it's so much into getting fun, like government, talking about government. Like since a kid, I've always been government's help. They don't do nothing. I've never seen them do anything. So how do I keep, like, why do you even talk about governments now? Like, they're not going to help you. So if we can get private companies to help us, that would be fine. Because right now I'm not even thinking about government. Because I know the government is not going to help any of us. So.
Did you bring a basketball? Do you have a ball here?
No, I don't have basketball.
You didn't bring any here.
I have 6 in my car.
Is it there?
Yeah, in my car.
Go and get one right now. I want to see you do
Spin
that
a
thing.
ball.
Yeah, that thing you guys do. What keeps you going? What inspires you as a person personally? What drives you?
It's my whys. I mean, why do you think I can't do this? Why do you think Ghana can't push basketball? Why do you think as a kid I can't graduate from university? Why do you think I'm a kid from Africa? Why do you think I'm dumb? Like, why? I can do this. Like, you know, we can do this. My whys is what pushes me.
Are you a person of faith?
I mean, I'm a Christian.
Yeah, I'm a Christian. The way you answered that. So being a Christian makes you a person of faith. So you believe in God.
I believe in God.
How much role does God play in your life?
I mean, so much. I can't even think about it, but so much. I mean, to where I got to, I can say just my work ethic, but you know, there's someone out there watching that, I mean, I can never forget about him. So I'm good with my faith, and I believe in God.
We haven't talked about your family. Do you have siblings?
Yeah, I have siblings. They're actually in Canada too.
Okay.
I have 2 sisters. That's actually good. Great backbone to me. Like, you know, you need
So
support.
you're the oldest?
I'm the middle child.
The middle one?
Yeah.
Are they playing basketball too?
Nah, they're not playing basketball.
It's just you?
Yeah.
How do you feel about you playing?
I mean, it's something new to my family. I'm actually the tallest in my family too. Like, so I'm the tallest. Not like someone is close to me or something. I'm the tallest. They don't even know how I became tall. So just like.
It's not in the family?
It's not in the family. Like, my dad is a little bit tall, but my dad is telling me my grandpa was tall, but I never got to meet him. So it could be that way. So yeah, I have 2 sisters, and both my mom and dad is still here.
You're a lucky man. What role would you say your dad or your mom played? Who's your favorite, first of all? What's your favorite? Do you have to say?
I'd say my dad.
That's interesting.
Because I'm playing basketball, you know, during those times, like, your parents wouldn't want you to get involved in sports and stuff because they focus on education.
They want you to study.
Yeah, they want you to study, you know. But actually, basketball goes with education. That you can play with it. And I learned that from Infantipim. Because Infantipim, you can't be just an athlete and not take education serious. Because, I mean, you know, Infantipim, they actually take their education very serious. So I learned that from how to combine sports with education and Infantipim. And when you get out there, too, you need your education to move next year. If you fail your class, you can play next year. So Infantipim helped me with that. And my dad, coming back to my dad was actually one of those people, one of my people close to me that actually, I mean, words of advice, like, son, keep going. Like, you can make this happen. Like, you know, because my friends too, like, some of them want to play, but their dads be like, stay home, don't go anywhere. But my dad is telling, he's actually coming to my games. Like, you don't see African parents doing that. They actually, oh, I'm beat work, like, go play, like, or you don't even go out. My dad's actually coming there to watch my games. And so I'll say my dad. I thank him a lot. Yeah.
What's your favorite team? apart from Saskatchewan
Oh,
Huskies.
I mean, I'm a LeBron fan, though, so everywhere LeBron goes, I move with
So
him.
it's Lakers?
Yeah, Lakers right now.
But honestly, if you weren't a LeBron fan, Lakers versus Heat, which one would you choose?
Lakers and Heat? I still pick Lakers, though.
Really?
Yeah.
Before LeBron joined?
Because of the Kobe Bryant and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But what's your favorite team? It's Lakers now.
Still Lakers, yeah.
Or the Golden State Warriors?
I don't like Steph Curry. I'm not Steph
That's the
Curry.
first time I'm hearing anybody say that.
I don't like Steph Curry. I think I mean, it's my opinion, it's my perspective.
Let me sit up.
Yeah, sit up.
Maxwell.
I think he's a good basketball player. Don't take that. But I think how kids learn the game right now, there's so much of the game that's shooting the ball. You can see a kid shoot the ball but can't actually play the game and understand the game. So when you go outside in Canada, kids want to like shoot from the middle of the basketball court. Like they get a ball, they just shoot it. They got Steph because they're watching Steph do it. Steph is a good player. He's an exceptional player because he's worked on it over and over years. And this kid see it, they don't know he worked on it over years, and they just want to do it. And they forget some aspect of the game too. But he's a good player. He's an exceptional player. I might be a little bit biased because he's been taking LeBron. He's taking some rings from LeBron James too. But I mean, that's what it is. That's what I feel about it, and it's my perspective.
That's fine.
Someone else can
can't
have another perspective, and I agree with him. That's fine.
But do you like football?
Like soccer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually grew
Favorite
up.
team?
I don't have a favorite team.
You have a favorite team?
Because I actually grew up trying to be a professional soccer player. And I started getting, I had a growth spurt that actually made me stop playing soccer. So when I watch soccer, it makes me it's my first love.
Right.
It's like trying to go back to it. So I actually stopped watching it.
So Ronaldo or Messi?
I think Ronaldo. You know why? Because Ronaldo is a hard worker. He's not talented. He's a hard worker.
Yeah, man. Okay. Mode basketball camp. Tell me, what's new with you guys? What are you doing?
I mean, this year was exceptional. I mean, you can tell, everything that happened, we took the kids to various drills, like shooting, every aspect of the game. So every kid actually learned every aspect of the game at the basketball camp. The coaches were exceptional. Coach Thomas, Coach Farah, me, Coach Lester, Coach Tete, Coach Keg, everyone was exceptional. So next year, we're trying to, because we funded this year by ourselves, next year we're trying to have more sponsors so we can make it actually have the kids stay on campus, make them know what it feels like being on a basketball camp and being team players, so we can impact them, give them more knowledge, because we want to sit down and talk to them more, because, these kids need knowledge. They need knowledge to fashion, and I mean, we're ready to help them. So next year, we actually want more sponsors on board to help the Mode Basketball Camp.
For Maxwell, you're doing a good job. Thank you so much, and we wish you the best.
Thank you very much.
Okay, how do people support you, or how do we follow you in case?
I mean, you can, our website is modebasketball.ca, and our social media is Mode Camp on Instagram.
Mode Camp.
Mode Camp on Instagram, and yeah, that's what it is.
Thank you so much, Maxwell Amoafo.
Thank you very much, too.
Basketball player and co-founder of Mode Basketball Camp. Interesting conversation. Well, we told you that we might just have a Cobra in our house this morning, and yeah, she's here, the founder of the Cobra Association. Mama Gladys is here. Stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Nanama Ejewa, CEO of Dwayne Co. Company Limited. Under the umbrella of Dwayne Co. is one of its flagship products, AquaGold Purified Drinking Water. AquaGold Purified Drinking Water has been certified by the Food and Drugs Authority, and it is created through microfiltration. It has gone through reverse osmosis, and it is sterilized by UV treatment. They are making natural akɔ through science, technology, nsuo ɛho te, nsuo kroji, nsuo a onoma ho se manum nsuo ɛde wɔ metekrema so. We are located at Tema Community 12. Contact us on 0266 26 7005 or 020 824 38 51. AquaGold purified drinking water. Safe water saves lives.
Guards! Get me the chef now. Huh? Where did you buy this rice? Follow her to the market where she want the rice. Go!
Welcome. Hey,
madam, Emuwe and Automa in Fieno.
when it comes to rice, I only sell Kwabena rice.
Here to be our shopping in.
Kwabena rice, Miss me will be.
Say a Kwabena rice, and ye will be a fee. This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome to VIP Access Podcast.